Hello, everybody out there in the YouTube world. We are WordPress St. Petersburg, WordPress Tampa Bay, and you are here for our Ask Us Anything crowdsourcing WordPress support workshop. I am Jim True, the lead organizer for WordPress Tampa Bay, and below we have Travis Lopes and Elaine Simmons, our other organizers. Jen Novak is not joining us tonight, but we will get started regardless. So, as soon as I find my keynote again, I lost it. There it is. Gotta love that. WordPress St. Petersburg, WordPress Tampa Bay meets monthly on the third Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. We are doing online for Ask Us Anythings or Ask AMAs, and we're going to be doing in-person quarterly socials. Our meetup is meetup.com/WordPress-St-Petersburg, or you can just go to our website at wptampabay.org. Our website has all of our communication channels, our Slack chat, Facebook group, and all of our meetups linked from there. We are a member of the WordPress Tampa Bay network. WordPress Tampa Bay is a loosely affiliated group of meetups that meet throughout Tampa Bay. Used to pre-pandemic, the groups were much more active, but since the pandemic, we've kind of like not been as active. So we are looking to merge ourselves back into WordPress Tampa Bay and do one gigantic meetup that shares calendars. We're planning on updating the meetup group primary name to WordPress Tampa Bay and WP Tampa Bay, but I need to make sure that we all of the redirection still occurs. All groups across Tampa Bay will be using the same calendar, which we do now anyway on the website. And Tampa, St. Pete, Brandon, Valrico, and Newport Richey are all of our current meetup groups. Lakeland may end up joining depending on if I end up getting Lakeland. We'll see. Any other group that would like to use our calendar, just let us know. All right, upcoming meetups and events. Next month, we're having our quarterly in-person social on March 21st, Tuesday, at the Armature Works in Tampa. We did St. Petersburg in December, I think. So we're doing Tampa in March, and then we'll pick another city for the next quarterly one, which will probably be, I guess, June, maybe, or July.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Armature Works is a huge craft food hall social area at 1910 North Ola Street. It's downtown near the water or along the water walk. What is that? Is it called the River Walk?
Riverwalk.
Yeah, the Riverwalk.
Yeah, the Riverwalk. Okay. They have parking. They have 4 lots around the venue, and then they also have on-street parking. I know Tampa tends to charge parking at night, but there are areas where you can kind of get around it to some extent. Like I remember the library being cheaper than most of the other choices, but that may have changed since.
But usually the garages nearby are like $10. It's not too bad.
Yeah, $10 is a lot for a night, though. Yeah, but we'll see. I think the nighttime on-street parking is like $1.50 an hour or something like that, or $1.25 depending. And there is a lot of parking all the way down. Since we're doing it on a Tuesday, it shouldn't be that bad. I did check their calendar, Elaine. The night before, they're doing movies on the lawn, A League of Their Own on Monday night.
Oh, so, how cool. I didn't know they did that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do. They do it a lot, actually. I think as soon as it starts getting comfortable like it is now, they do it almost every month, I think. So, but anyway, that's what we're going to do. Since the venue's kind of large, we are planning on meeting together outside. But what we're going to do is, as you RSVP to that event, I will send you a message and give you my phone number, and I will text you and make sure you get it. And then that way, the night of the event, if you're coming out, I will text and let everybody know where we are, and you can text me when you get there.
Because the seating is come first. First come, first serve. So we don't know exactly where we're going to be seated.
Right. We're going to try to go outside, probably on the side facing the water. And I think it's Ulele, isn't it, that faces it? If you're down that end.
Yeah, also. Yeah.
Yeah. So that side, facing towards downtown Tampa, is what we're going to try to sit on that side of the venue. Because they do have like... I know the Cuban place has outdoor seating too, but it's kind of like more associated to that particular restaurant. But so anyway, so it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be a blast. I'm probably going to get there pretty early. Is my goal that day. I'm going to feed the Uno and then I'm going to head on down. So our next event in April, on April 18th, is an Ask Us Anything, one of these again. I'm going to try still going to use the RSVP, but I'm going to try to get a form published on the website to collect these questions ahead of time, kind of like the way that Gravity Wiz does with their open Q&A thing, because I think it might work better. And I'll start publishing and pushing that out there more often on Facebook and stuff so that we can start trying to get some more questions in. Because otherwise, I'm going to have to do a class again on something. I'm not quite ready to do that yet. Trying to make an excuse not to have to do a class, but I need to know I need to do a class at some point. And in May, on the 16th, we'll be doing another one of these, unless we end up doing like a Gutenberg thing. Who knows? We'll see. So tonight, we are looking for speakers. We're always looking for speakers. We have a input form on our website for collecting them. If you like to talk about WordPress, like to talk about web design, front end or back end, plugin reviews, theme reviews, anything that's pertinent to WordPress and web design and running a business in Florida, I don't know, any of that kind of stuff. I think we can find a way to get you into our conversations. If you've never spoken in public before, that's not a problem. We do these things online right now, so you don't have to worry about anybody looking at you. And this is also great for your resume, your LinkedIn, or your Twitter. So always a good thing to get your resume built up in these days. If you are interested in talking or speaking at one of our little AMAs or otherwise, please fill out the form at wptampabay.org/speakers/call. Okay, code of conduct tonight. There are no stupid questions except the one you didn't ask. Like I said, if you don't ask a question, we can't tell you if we can't answer anything. So we need questions. That's what it all comes down to. We do limit the question discussion to 10 to 15 minutes anymore, and you should be hiring a consultant. But we kind of police that ourselves anyway. And everyone gets to speak, but no crosstalk. And that's really just dealing with the online environment that you kind of need to not be talking on top of each other. Otherwise, no one can hear anything anyone's saying. Our dial-in etiquette tonight, we're using StreamYard, and an invite link is posted on both our Facebook and our YouTube chat. Once you join that session, you'll be dropped into a green room and given guest instructions, which actually walk you through setting up your microphone and your camera and testing it ahead of time before joining the call. And this is pretty much our primary requirement, is that please make sure you've got your connection configured properly and you've tested your mic and speakers. And also make sure that if you are watching the stream on Facebook Live or on YouTube, that you mute those windows, because when you join StreamYard and you don't have those things muted, that means your audio speakers are still playing that audio and you're going to end up becoming in a feedback tunnel and we'll have to mute you. All right, questions. Ask us anything. So we'll get started. All right, I'm not going to stop the screen, but I'm going to take it off the screen for a second. Let's see what questions we've got out there and see if we've got any new ones. How many people we got on the call so far? Is it what, 2? 3, which could be the 3 of us. I always wonder about that, Is it just the 3 of us that are in here? Really? Just talking to ourselves? Let's see. All right. I'm just checking to see if we got any new questions other than the ones we already saw before I jump into those. Let's see all attendees. Looks like, there's a new one, a new question to drop in today. So, all right, cool. Let's get started with how do I get traffic to my E? So, I'm trying to find my Slack. I lost my Slack. There it is. Okay. Let's see. Please bear with me as I'm copying and pasting things. So I should have posted these in here earlier. All right. Christina asks, how do I get more traffic to my E? Guessing she means e-commerce website. And Travis, I think you said you wanted to handle that one.
Yeah, when I was working with Ellipsis, who is a WordPress focused marketing agency, one of the ways they like to approach marketing, the owner over there, Alex Denning, he discovered, and I ended up reading this book you recommended. It's called Traction: How Any Startup Can Achieve Explosive Customer Growth. Even though it is focused towards startups, like it can work toward any business. And the theory is that there's like tons of different marketing channels that you can pursue when marketing your business, whether that's, and I'll just read off some of them: publicity, search engine marketing, social and display ads, content marketing, email marketing, all those kinds of things. And the idea is to like go through the different types, kind of draft out what you might do for some of them, and pick one or two and focus on them. If you don't get traction on one of the channels, discard it, move on to the next. But if you do get traction on one of them, focus purely on that marketing channel. So if you're getting traction on the content marketing channel, like you're writing blog posts for your site, they're advertising your products, and you're getting a lot of people looking at that, only do that and continue doing that until you wring it dry, until you are getting no further like substantial conversions off of it, and then pivot to another marketing channel. Don't try to do everything at once. Don't try to like do social media and content marketing and YouTube videos, because you're spreading yourself so thin. You're not doing anything properly to really know what's going to stick.
Well, I know if Jen was here, she would also probably say this too, is that she brings this up quite often. Like when you're doing any kind of marketing schedule, when you're setting that up, like your social media schedule or your YouTube or anything of that nature, whatever you decide to do, be consistent. That's a big one, because that's the first thing people notice is like you start off all big and gung ho, and then you start dropping off and no one hears from you. And being inconsistent is worse than being infrequent, you know?
Also, if this is a store, then maybe
didn't say. Just said e-commerce. It just said e-commerce.
You have products and maybe doing some schema.
Yeah.
Google likes that.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. If you're going to be incorporating your WooCommerce site and stuff like that, definitely does WooCommerce do that now automatically, or do you have to like actually add that in the schema stuff?
I don't think it's automatic.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. I know that they do help you with as far as like the way to populate the products and stuff like that you can show prices and stuff like that through the Google search results and stuff based on how you put that in.
Usually you see it with recipes. It'll have a photo, and it'll have a link, and it'll have stars, and it'll have reviews, and it'll have description, and it's all in this little cute little box.
Yep. Do the research. So let's see. But yeah, getting traffic just basically means knowing your audience. You've got to know who your audience is and target that audience. So, and don't ever say that everyone's my audience, because that's not true. No matter what kind of product you're doing, there is a very specific audience for that product.
And then get backlinks on business directories that are in your wheelhouse somehow, some way, even if it's kind of convoluted.
And work your local marketing channels. Don't be afraid to go to business development groups and stuff like that in your local area and stuff. Try to, network locally.
But again, check out this book, because it details those kind of marketing channels along with other kind of marketing channels, including like how to like pursue those marketing channels appropriately.
Can you give me an Amazon link for that one, and we'll throw it in the comments? Yeah, thanks. Cool. Hopefully, Christina, that's helpful. Our next question is from Nancy. She asks, I'm interested in monetizing my blogs. I'm in the process of restarting them and renaming one of them. I think Travis could give a big conversation about the whole pitfalls of renaming, especially if you had traction with your existing company name and you're trying to change your branding and stuff like that.
I don't know if I can comment too much on that yet, because I'm not on the other side yet.
That is true. You have not been on the other side of it yet.
Yes.
I would say before you go off the deep end on renaming, get with your trademark attorneys, get with your stuff like that, because you need to make sure that you're not choosing a name that's already been chosen. Make sure you got to don't like we talked about this last month. But that was one of the things that came up was like, make sure that you've done your research as to the domain names being available, the Twitter names being available, social media handles being available. We've got 6 people on the call. So maybe
if you Google search for this potential new name, like, are you going to be fighting a very tough battle?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Like we had landed on a name that we thought was good, and then I did a Google search for it, and like, hey, there's an Adidas shoe that is named that name, and we're never going to gain traction for that search term. So that became an instant no.
Yeah, do the research. It can't hurt you. If you think that you've done the research, then keep doing the research, because the trademark database is a great place to start as well, because you may be stepping on a trademark and not realize, especially if you do think somewhere down the road you want your name to have that little TM behind it or R behind it or otherwise. So,
well, today's news, Eminem is suing a podcast that named itself Shady something or other. Forget what it exactly. But
you mean Eminem the artist? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eminem.
And he's taking them to court because they're going to come out with products and they're going to put that word shady on hats and T-shirts and whatever. And
existed long before that.
Hey, I've had that name going back to the 90s, so think again.
You're a little loud, Elaine. I'm
okay.
Taking your volume down just a tad. I did the same thing with Travis when he joined. It's okay. I think you guys have just got really good mics. And I've got mine over there.
For once.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't have the trademark, that lawsuit is going to go nowhere. Right.
Well, it's weird because like music, it's copyright. It's not the name of a song can't be like art. Respect. You could name a business Respect, RESPECT. That's not going to step on these
The
songs.
trademark applies in the specific categories that the trademark owner decided to apply for.
Really?
Good point. Okay. Good point. Yeah, that actually makes sense.
For instance, music or clothing,
apparel,
fashion.
Yeah, apparel. Yeah, that's true. If you tied it together like Air Jordans and stuff like that, that's actually.
But if he didn't apply for it against like appliances, GE could come out with like a shady microwave.
Interesting thought.
Hey, it's the first thing I
do. Monetizing your blog, you've got to have a product. If you're planning on trying to get some kind of monetization from your blog, you're either going to be doing ad sales, like the Google ad sales or something of that nature, or affiliate marketing or something of that nature, where you're affiliate marketing, where you're like, as people hit that page, they see ads on your page, and those are the ones you get monetization from. That's something I'm not terribly up on, but there are. That's not an SEO type thing. That's really that's a specific thing. Google will happily give you lots of information on it if you check them out. So it's one of those kind of things. I personally, having gone to so many websites lately on my phone and my iPad when I'm like sitting there at 2:00 in the morning and can't sleep for whatever reason, and I'm going to a website and all of these little things come sliding in from the side and the top and the bottom and below, and it's like, accept my cookies. And then it's like, then there's this ad that like takes over half the damn page, or you're scrolling down.
I've got a better idea. How about instead of accepting your cookies, I close your website. I just close the tab.
Yeah, that's what I've been taking to do. But it's just one of those kind of things. Like, I'm wanting to read a news article and all I'm seeing are ads. And it's to the point where I can't even get to the thing I want to see because of the way that people don't pay attention to mobile, and they make the X's for the little buttons too small for our big old thumbs. That it just drives me crazy. It's like playing one of those. It's like when the ads are on those games on your iPad or your iPhone, and you have to watch the ad in order to continue playing the game, and they deliberately make the X so small that you can barely touch it. So yeah, it's like that. basically, if you're going to monetize be thoughtful. If you know that your audience is probably primarily mobile, and you can tell that from your Google Analytics, what kind of people are visiting your site. Be thoughtful about the way you handle your monetization. Don't be in their face, because I can guarantee you the minute you start pushing, you're going to push people away from your site. And ads really are one of those kind of things that can overwhelm a website completely. And all those little opt-ins, like join my list. Why would I want to join your list? Give me a reason to join your list. Don't overwhelm me with your damn marketing. So that's my suggestion. Without knowing more about specifically, what your blogs are doing now, or what your market and audience is on your blogs, I can't really make any specific recommendations, just like blanket ones. So that's why we always try to ask.
Did we cover paid posts?
I don't think we've ever talked about paid posts. No, but that's an option. Yeah. If your content is good enough to put it behind a paywall, sure.
Oh, I'm not even talking about a paywall. I'm talking about like how sites like WP May are like, hey, I can pay them to do a review of my product.
Yeah. I mean, as like, you think that's a good option or a bad option? How do you feel?
That's totally a good option.
Okay. Yeah. It depends on. I mean, that's within inside the WordPress space.
So it's sort of
I'm just using that as an example of like.
Yeah. Yeah. Depending
on what your backlink. Then it's like a backlink.
Yeah.
You're paying for.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you sit there and think along the lines of like, if you're working in a network of people's sites that are similar, like food blogs, that you were talking recipes and stuff like that. A lot of times, cookbook authors and food blogs that also have cookbooks will promote a cookbook from another food blog, or they'll promote another food blog, or they'll have them do a recipe for their site and cross promote that way. So that happens quite often too. I am not an expert on influencers and Instagram, and I'm not going to go there because I find those things very annoying. So I find all the little people that just pop up on your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed and talk to you like they're experts. Just drive me insane. Anyway. All right, next question. This is from Robin. She asks, I need to totally rebuild her website, I'm guessing, not herself. Wondering if using Gutenberg, Divi, or Elementor would be a good way to go. I actually like this question, and I like to think about it because there's an opportunity cost when you decide to go in one of these three directions. Divi is, first off, it's a premium theme, and it's a premium builder system, what have you. So you're not going to be going in there without paying to even try it out. It also has a very specific opportunity cost of it. Like, once you go Divi, you're pretty much saying goodbye WordPress. You're pretty much saying my entire site is now within this particular builder framework. If you decide down the road that you don't like it, or you're using it and you just find that you really can't do it. Yes, there's a lot of people that do Divi, but you're going to be stuck, with that concept. That's a cost that you have to pay, especially if you're planning on doing this for yourself and plan on actually managing your own website. Elementor would probably fall in that same category, but they do have a free product. So if you did want to try it out ahead of time and see if you like the way you can build sites from it, then that's something to check out. They have a pretty good community. They do work on top of WordPress, but your opportunity cost here is Elementor and Divi are not the only thing on your site. You have forms programs. You have, if you're doing WooCommerce, you have you have your e-commerce system. You have payment gateways. You may have all of these other plugins that are part of your website ecosystem. And choosing one of these products like this that have deliberately said, or have deliberately positioned themselves as being completely anti-WordPress. Would you agree with that pretty much? That they kind of are, Elementor and Divi, anti-WordPress. They don't code within WordPress standards. They don't they kind of ask.
Elementor's trying to slowly pivot
Elementor specifically,
possibly
yeah,
out of
Elementor.
WordPress.
Yeah, Elementor more than Divi, but Elementor very much says like it's our way or the highway, and they expect all plugin authors to kowtow to them, but that's not who we kowtow to as plugin authors and plugin developers. We kowtow to WordPress. WordPress is our space, and if they deliberately don't code to WordPress standards, you're going to have speed issues. You're going to have conflict issues. Every single time there's an update to WordPress, Divi or Elementor may be behind. There's lots of things that you got to deal with, and that's an opportunity cost you have to think about. Gutenberg, by its direct nature, is 100% WordPress. There's no question there. Every single bit of it. It doesn't go out there unless it works on WordPress. Most of your theme developers are, to some extent, embracing it. And what I would look at is if it's look at the concept of how much of your site are you having to redesign. Are you looking at, you're rebuilding it? Yes. So I'm guessing that means that you're trying to make it look more modern or something of that nature. What do you call it? It's not the block galleries. What are they called? They have a term for those things. They're not style galleries, but they're like the little pre-built things that are part of blocks. Patterns. Thank you. That's it. The block pattern library may actually handle most of the stuff you need to do. And if that's the case, then you may end up being able to build your entire site within Gutenberg, and it'll be incredibly fast and zippy for you. What I would do is Gutenberg Times is one of our, let me get her a link real quick. Gutenberg Times is a website built by Birgit. I cannot remember Birgit's last name, unfortunately. Do you remember Birgit's last name?
I think everyone
anyway,
just knows by her first.
They know her by Birgit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let me pop this up here real quick. I'll share this one. Show Gutenberg Times. It's a website that kind of reviews everything Gutenberg. So, and all things about the block editor and stuff like that. It's probably one of the most useful websites I've seen out there as far as, sorry, I'm trying to find my share button and I lost it. Just a second. I will share her site real quick.
I think she's at WordPress Asia right now. Or is that over?
Yeah,
now?
She was. It's over now. Yeah, that was over, I think,
Sunday?
Over the weekend. Yeah, Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. Chrome tab. Anyway, when I was shopping WordPress themes, did I share this? No, I don't have it on the screen. Yeah, I do. I do have it on the screen. When I was shopping Gutenberg themes or block editor themes, I actually went to her site first to get an idea of what was useful out there. And she has, like if you scroll down, I mean, she's got so much information here. It's definitely going to be a good starting place to look at. She's got some really good comments about, block plugins, how-tos, tutorials, the whole thing. She works with the community group and everything else like that. But I actually went down here because she had just recently redesigned, and her theme was by Anders Noren. So I said, well, let me go check this out. Well, he has a lot of, every one of these themes is free on the WordPress.org marketplace. And when I was looking through here, he's got portfolio themes, he's got news themes, he's got corporate looking themes, he's got e-commerce looking themes, he's got artist themes, styles and designs and stuff like that. And not all of these, some of these are full site editing, a lot of these aren't, but they look good, and they look good immediately. So you might be able to work along those lines as well. So that's just my recommendation, is that don't jump into Elementor or Divi just because that's the current flash in the pan, because I find every time I see a Divi site, I recognize it. I can tell it's a Divi site immediately. And I've noticed I can pretty much do the same thing with Elementor as well. There's nothing, to me, there's nothing that I've seen either of them do that I couldn't do in the block editor. On at least on I use Generate Press and Generate Blocks, and there's not a thing I've not been able to do with either one of those. Oh, 1 second. My automations are off a little bit, so the automation that's supposed to run at 4 o'clock for some reason runs 3 hours late. No idea why. Every single time we get a Google Apple Home update, this happens for like a week. So very fun. We've got another question from the from our chat. Give me just a second. Hopefully that answered your question as far as what kind of thing to choose. Actually, we've got a couple of questions. Sean, let's take the one from the chat first, and then we'll grab that other one from RSVP. Roland asks, on a hosting platform like Bluehost, what NERB knobs can you adjust for performance? Part 2, have you incorporated a CDN into WordPress, and is it worth it? On Blue, I hate to use the word caching, but that's pretty much the only thing you're going to be able to knob with at your typical host like Bluehost or GoDaddy or something like that. And I would highly recommend not. Unless you know exactly what you're doing, because caching can cause more problems than it can solve, especially with performance. What you can do is look at your PHP version. You can look at the versions that are of the primary web hosting libraries, especially if you're on like an Apache server. You want to look at things like, is my OpenSSL current? Is my CURL current? All of the little things that basically make your website work a lot better. You can adjust a lot of those. Like PHP, changing PHP from like 7.4 to 8 is a huge performance improvement, or like especially from 5.6 to 7.4 and stuff like that. But at these days, we're recommending at least going to PHP 8.0, doing current versions of what?
At least 7.4. Put 8.0 on a staging site, see how that goes.
Yes, with your other plugins. Yeah, because you got
someone who has had their host force them up to 8.0 multiple times and had to be like, no, because certain EDD plugins don't work with 8.0 properly.
Yeah, not yet anyway.
Point, Travis.
Yeah. That's the big one, is just make sure that you can have a staging site so you can test performance and you can A/B test between the two. Part 2 on incorporating a CDN into WordPress, and is it worth it? You mean like Cloudflare, that kind of a thing, or are you talking about like Amazon? That'd be my question.
I think he's talking Cloudflare, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But if you really want to adjust the knobs for performance, you really don't want to be doing those in a WordPress plugin. You want to be with a host that does it at the server level, because that's where you're going to get the peak performance, where they're using like object caching, like straight with PHP and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which the bigger names out there, Flywheel, WP Engine,
Pagely,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And they don't tend to put their own caching plugins on the site like some hosting.
Well, they don't need to, because they have that built in at the server level.
Exactly. They're doing it at the machine level. So CDNs,
Have I incorporated one? Yes, but that's because my hosting provider handles that completely.
Yeah.
They have CDN as a part of their feature set, and they handle it entirely.
Which CDN?
They use S3.
Okay, S3 from Amazon. S3, yeah. Cloudflare, I've been just running into too many issues with it, especially if you've got APIs running on your website, because Cloudflare tends to be overly aggressive with fighting APIs, and you don't want that. They call it a fight, or a bot fight mode is what they call it. And most of your work these days is either in the REST API, or it's going to be an API communicating with some sort of a communication system, or possibly an e-commerce system. And you do not want your CDN jumping into that, because that needs to be communicating between the API, your website, the API. those things need to talk. The Cloudflare, your CDN has no need to be in the middle of that, and shouldn't be. So, or if they are going to be protecting you from things attacking your site, you need to have complete control over being able to whitelist, agents that are going to be communicating remotely to your APIs on your site, or vice versa. That's my viewpoint on that one. Just ran into a lot of issues with Cloudflares being overly aggressive when it comes to getting in the middle.
I completely avoid them.
Yeah. Hopefully, did that answer your question, Roland? Hopefully it did. Good question. Very good question. Thank you for joining the call tonight. Can't believe it. We got 7 people on here tonight. I'm like shocked. We have another question from the RSVPs on Meetup. Sean Christopher Valley asks, programming with subscription. I don't know what that means. Unfortunately, we
directory site.
Oh, Roland says it did. Thanks so much. You're very welcome. I don't know.
Membership site.
Maybe subscription could be like MailChimp. It could be subscriptions with e-commerce. There's a lot of possibilities there. This is one of those reasons why we ask you to be very specific about the questions you ask, because otherwise we're sitting here wondering what you want or what you need. So if you are on the call, Sean, please fill us in. Now, we are going to try to, at least before April, I will try to, here we go. Subscription info with yearly membership. Okay, here we go. So are you talking about, hey, we have somebody joining our question and answering things. What's a good question? What's the question there, Sean? As far as like, what are you wanting to know about subscription infos with yearly memberships? Because there are several different plugins that can handle that. Gravity Forms has payment gateways like Stripe and Square, both handle subscriptions. PayPal, Checkout handle subscriptions.
But those will just create the subscription, not necessarily do full-on management.
Right, exactly. Some of those do, some of them don't. Depends on what you're looking for. Elaine, do you want to chat with Larry and ask him what is he wanting to ask questions on the call? Because we'll bring him in if he does. So,
where do you see him?
He's in our little chat box down below. So give me just a second. We'll bring him on the call in just a second. I'm going to go and bring you in because I don't think we're answering Sean's question. He's going to give us a little more details. So, hey, Larry, how are you doing?
All right, how you doing?
Good.
Thanks for taking it. So I'm new to WordPress hosting, using WordPress in general, and I ended up, just like you said, ended up in a restrictive environment. I ended up with Elementor Cloud as a hosting platform, and they don't give you a cPanel. They don't let you do things. So you have to use like WP Adminer or file manager, things like that to get to files or to get to SQL databases. I want to be able to do direct programming in and out of SQL databases. So, and also they don't seem to be very friendly for having a staging site in conjunction with your basic account. So I guess it's along the lines of the questions you were sort of talking about with Roland. It's just like for somebody who wants to get into, make sure I can customize, through custom SQL access, and I understand there'll be PHP coding involved with that. But do you have a recommendation or thoughts about hosting that I can, because I'd like to get off Elementor Cloud and go somewhere else, whether it's WP Engine or whatever it is that's very friendly for staging sites, etc.
WP Engine will be friendly with staging sites, and Fly will be friendly with staging sites, but they do not give you database programming access. I can guarantee you won't get that at all from them, not unless you are paying a premium for that. At least I'm pretty sure they don't. You can get
something else you'd recommend. I mean, I've looked at Kinsta seems to be something that is like a high powered kind of hosting site with a lot of support at a much higher price. But I didn't know.
SiteGround is pretty much, they're a technical users website hosting company, so you will have full access, that kind of a thing.
Pantheon as well.
Pantheon as well, yeah. Your managed WordPress sites or WordPress hosting sites are probably not going to give you as much access as you'd like. And if you're wanting more access to that level, if you like, I mean, you're going to want to go with someplace like SiteGround or Pantheon or one of the hosting companies that isn't managed. They may offer managed WordPress hosting, but these are going to give you more direct access to you.
You should be able to get database access through WP Engine.
Not
because
level. Oh, go ahead.
Because what you would do is you would pull up your whatever app you choose to use to connect to a database, plug in the database credentials from the WP config file, and then choose to connect over SSH, which WP Engine offers SSH connection. So because you're connecting through SSH, your SQL connection is going through that SSH connection. Okay. And so WP Engine has like the MySQL connections like whitelisted to only come from the site. And so because you're essentially tunneling through the site, you will be able to connect to the database. Like that's how I do it when I'm with Pagely. It's like I can only get access to the database directly if I tunnel through SSH for that connection.
But are you wanting to actually write SQL scripts for?
Yeah, I want to have activities on the pages that will be posting content or retrieving content to display from SQL tables.
Okay. Are you planning on doing that through like WordPress? You're planning on doing that through your own hard-coded PHP or other methods?
I was planning on doing it to my own hard-coded PHP. I haven't really got a chance to look at it, but I know there's a plugin called Code Snippets that apparently allows you to put snippets in. I have no idea if that's a good tool.
It may not cover as much as you need it to do. If you're thinking like Travis is talking about, like if you're planning on writing the pages by hand, stuff like that, or coding outside of WordPress. WP Engine doesn't support libraries outside of WordPress on their managed space. I'm pretty sure they don't. Okay. If you're planning on if you're trying to write code that is outside of the WordPress space, WP Engine won't support that unless you're paying for it.
What do you define? But like, I'm confused by what you mean by outside of the WordPress space.
Like if you're coming in through React, not React, but like if you're going to do like a completely headless without WordPress in the way at all. Like if you're trying to run a site that is not WordPress.
I mean, I would imagine you can do headless because that's like a thing WP Engine has been pushing for a bit.
Yeah, but they still want you to do it through their WordPress headless piece. Through their framework.
I don't think I'm ready to be headless yet, but
okay. Okay. I mean, if you're just wanting to write PHP code and throwing it into the functions and stuff like that, or even through code snippets, you have functions.php access with your WordPress engine. You've got access to run cron jobs.
Or more so, I would create a custom plugin that contains that functionality. If you want to do database stuff, I would check out. I would be running everything through the WPDB class.
Yeah,
it's available through a WPDB global.
Yeah.
That will give you all the stuff you need, like all the helper methods to be able to connect to the database.
Sorry, I was running back to my Bank of America days where we did have full on, code level at the server level and database access, and we're writing actual jobs and stored procedures and stuff like that. Are you planning on writing stored procedures on the database?
I hadn't thought about that. Stored procedures are always a nice way to go, but for me, being new, I think doing it, I hate to say it, as dirty as possible, but getting it done and learning as I go is probably where I'm thinking.
If you're going to be playing on that level, I would do that with local because it's free. Local by Flywheel gives you MySQL. It gives you the cleanest installation of it's Nginx, I think it is, but you can also use
Nginx.
Apache, Nginx, sorry. I call it Nginx, but anyway. So Nginx, but they also can run it on, they also do Apache, don't they? They have Apache.
Yeah, there's Nginx and Apache for like server stuff. There's multiple PHP versions and multiple MySQL versions. And so you can easily, it's nice because you can easily hot swap PHP versions. So if you want to test a PHP version upgrade, you can do it locally and just flip back and forth real quick and see what happens.
And if you blow out your database, it's local, so you don't have to worry about hurting anybody.
Right.
But Flywheel does not give anywhere near that kind of access. WP Engine would give more. Flywheel is not meant for that level of access, I don't believe. I think they usually tailor Flywheel for their less technical people and WP Engine for their more technical people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would definitely, if you're just starting this from scratch, WP Engine has a GitHub action that you can easily set up, so that way anytime you push code to a specific or any branch on a GitHub repository, it'll automatically push that code to your WP Engine site, which is a great way to have your version management without having to like FTP everything all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, appreciate it.
Is that helpful?
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's very helpful.
No problem. Oh,
right,
cool.
thank you very
Excellent.
much.
Okay. Have a great one, and thank you for joining the call. Appreciate it, Larry.
Thank you for providing the support. Appreciate it.
Anytime. All right. Sean comes back with more detail on his question. He says, how can I link my WordPress 100 pages to the subscription button? So, okay, that's easier. That's much easier to do. If you have designed whatever you're using your subscription button within, you can throw it in the widget at the bottom, depending on the theme that you're using for your website. That one's an easy one to do. You pretty much just put it in the footer section of your page. If we actually talked about this.
Put what in the footer section of your page? What are you talking about?
His subscription button. He has a subscription button that he wants to link to.
Okay, so just
yeah, that's the easiest way. Depending if you've got a WooCommerce site and you're wanting to modify.
I'm thinking restrict content pro, where you want to restrict content, behind whatever.
Yeah, he's saying, how can I link my WordPress 100 pages to my subscription button? He's wanting people to do a subscription to his site. He wants the subscription button on all the pages of his site. The easiest way to do that is to put it in your footer.
Put in the footer, yeah.
Yeah. Or the header or the sidebar, any of those three. Either using one of the WordPress widgets to do it, or doing it in by hard code at the PHP level. Again, depends on what what kind of a site you're using. If you're using Elementor, they have global sections, and they definitely have the footer as a global section, and you could add it there. If you're using Divi, they have the same type of thing. WordPress definitely has it inside the block editor, and most of the themes support that as well. So I would just do it in the widget with a short code, or do it with a block in your footer section, as long as that footer shows on all pages. There's also there used to be a widget logic thingy. Does that still work? Yeah.
I don't know if it's still, I used that one time.
Yeah, let me look it up real quick and see if it's still out there or when it's been last updated. Widget logic, because I used to use that thing all the time. Let's see, plugin widget logic. Not been tested with the last 3 major releases of WordPress. So I would say no. Hasn't been touched in 4 years.
I have plugins that have not been touched in a while because I know they work.
4 years ago, buddy. 4 years ago. Widgets have changed quite a bit.
I mean, I have plugins that have been updated within the past 4 years, and the only thing I did was change the version number to remove that warning.
Yeah, I've seen people do that before.
Because they're very simple plugins, right?
Yeah. That's one of those kind of things where I would look at what theme you're using and how your pages. I would be cautious. Yeah. The easiest, not the easiest. The easiest way is through a widget, but that is going to put it on every single, a widget in your footer. Put that on all of your pages, and boom, it's in there. But the other method to do it would be through hooks and filters within your theme. So, like in the, what would it be? The WP. WP footer hook. If you wanted to put it before the footer, like if you wanted to include something in your, here, I'll just share this one.
Like your Google Analytics tag.
Yeah, exactly. If you wanted to make sure it's included at the bottom of all of your content, but before the footer, like in a little, box at the bottom, you can do it using the WP footer hook filter.
Well, at least on pages that do call WP footer, to be fair.
I would imagine most pages call WP footer still.
Hey, maybe you're a new theme developer and you don't know that function exists or what it's used for, and you don't include it in your theme.
I thought, wouldn't that be
not
like
speaking from experience at all?
Okay, all right. All right, buddy. Yeah, I like GeneratePress because, or GeneratePress for this one particular reason, because they allow you to add blocks, Gutenberg blocks, and call them at any one of those little areas. It's one of the nicest things they do as part of their Elements feature. You can actually create a block for like a subscription button. I used it. It's one of the customers at Gravity's Forms came in and was trying to figure out how to do a sign-up form on all of their pages. And I went to look at the site and I said, oh, you're using generate blocks. You've got the block right here. The reason it's not showing right is because you just dropped the block in there and you didn't put a content frame around it. And that's all I did is I showed them how to do that piece within generate blocks. And it was really easy. So loved it. Quite useful. But that would be my suggestion, is to do that. Hopefully that answered your question, Sean. Let's see. We are at 7:30. We are at our window. We have 9 minutes. So I think we can probably wrap for today. I think that has been pretty much all of the questions for. We have 7 people that called or dialed in. We had an actual live human being on the call that dialed in and asked a question. God,
it's one of my favorite kinds of questions, which is one
I love
spend the whole hour talking about.
Exactly. There you go. I did. I went, seriously, Travis, I went straight back to my Bank of America days and coding on Internet Information Server against Microsoft SQL on Perl. And that's where my
thankfully have never used IIS.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I get so many questions. They're the one weird question that comes in is folks that are running WordPress on IIS. And I know it immediately because it's IIS steps into the API handling for REST API and not in a good way. So it's one of those weird little things that just happens.
I used to remember discovering Nginx back when I was like 16 because I was helping run my friend's site and it was running on Apache, and his site blew up because like he was on CNN, and I very quickly had to scramble to figure out this VPS is blowing up. How do I fix this? And switching to Nginx was able to handle like thousands of people a minute.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Not nice when you're like scrambling and figuring out how to build a config file on the fly.
No, not fun at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I do. I mean, Elaine and I do remember the days of like, I mean, back in our day when we were doing websites back in the day, you had access to everything because the host didn't know. They kind of said, here, figure it out. Whatever it is, figure it out. Mail, you figure it out.
I miss cPanel some days because at least I knew where everything was.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about it is like you could make a mess, but you had access to so much. Like I could fix so many things back in the
because nowadays, like as a plugin developer, like some of our plugins generate files that are sensitive. So we generally hide them with a htaccess file. And then like we serve them up through a REST API URL because then we could do authentication and serve them up in a way to make sure that the proper person, like platforms and hosting providers like WP Engine decide, hey, we're not going to support htaccess files anymore for some security reason, which I think is total BS. Like, I don't know what your security reason is for not supporting htaccess files. So then we have customers.
They want you to go. They want you to go through them to do it. Is what it comes down to. They want you to be
slightly. So in one of our products, we have a check that runs every week that checks to see if that folder that stores the generated files is public. And if it is public, we flash a notice. It's like, hey, your thing is public. Like you should fix this.
Right. Yeah.
And with WP Engine, we've learned like we have to provide Nginx rules because WP Engine will support Nginx rewrite rules, not htaccess files, which is very strange.
Interesting. Yeah. Fascinating. All right. So on that note, make sure that you like and subscribe to this video on YouTube. It helps get our numbers up. It'd be really nice to get over a certain number of channel followers so that we can actually possibly even monetize this channel. That would be pleasant. Who knows? It'd be pleasant to see. Make sure that you visit our website at wptampabay.org. Someone's trying to dial into the call, but their devices are not connected, so they're not going to get very far. And they left. So visit our website at wptampabay.org. You will see our list of someone's asking a question. Oh, we're just getting a thank you for our help. Oh, thank you, Larry. You're welcome.
And then the
our
viewer
website.
count.
What was that?
Thank you for your help, and then viewer count drops.
Yeah, exactly. Immediately drops from 6 to 5, 7 to 6 to 5 to 4 to 3. It's like we're chasing them away or something. But yeah, make sure that you do follow our website and check out the social media channels there. We advertise these on Facebook Live and on our Facebook group, and also on our YouTube channel. We include the links to these. All of our prior Ask a Cynic things are actually all linked together. So, our website is quite a hefty resource. Quite useful. Let me go and get rid of that little banner. And I will get ready to say our goodbyes. So again, we are meeting in person next month at did I say March 21st, right? Yeah, March 21st at the Armature Works. And then after that, we will pick up again with the Ask Us Any Things in April and May. Make sure, thank you, Travis and Elaine, for joining the call tonight, for doing such a job of fielding questions and keeping me on track. I appreciate it. And I will see all of you next month. Thank you for watching a recorded session from WordPress St. Petersburg Meetup. We meet once a month on the first Tuesday of the month, live streaming online through our YouTube channel and Facebook group. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new videos are added. Find out more about WordPress St. Petersburg at our website at wptampabay.org.